Hello, and welcome to another episode of Champagne and Chandeliers. And today we have a very special guest. I'm overexcited. Today we have my wife, Evgenia Ribinik, talking about her boudoir photography business and how she got there. So I don't think I ever heard a boudoir photographer on a podcast, and I never heard my wife on a podcast, especially not talking to myself. So it's going to be very interesting and maybe dangerous experience for me. So welcome, Eugenia, or as we call it, home Zhenya.
Hi, Julian. It would not be dangerous unless you need to strip for me and start a boudoir session.
I think we're going to skip this for the people today.
Yes. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. And I wonder which number I'm going to be in your podcast playlist. I'm very excited about this. This is literally my second ever podcast. So I'm very excited to chat, to answer any questions, to chat about the industry in general. So thank you.
And I think most people who come to you, they come because they did a lot of research and they know a lot about you. You are not just a typical boudoir photographer, but for our brides and for our listeners, can you tell us a little bit about your journey in the photography industry, how you got here, why you're doing this, how did it all happen?
Sure. So you actually brought me to a wedding.
Oh no, I
We
did.
were together. One of the first ones on my list, even though I've been doing photography before, but professionally for weddings, it was one of the newer weddings on my part. And one of the brides wanted to do a boudoir session, actually, not even a boudoir session, just a few pictures for her husband to be before she gets into a wedding dress. And obviously, somebody by the name of Julian Ribinik said, well, I can't do that. So you have to do that. I had no idea how to pose a person in lingerie. It's a totally different ball game altogether. It's totally different from.
Look what I did.
I know. So I did that. She liked the pictures, not my strongest work. But after I did that session, I started thinking about it. And obviously, Boudoir has been around for a long time. I'm not the one who created the genre, but I loved our wedding approach to images, which is dark, candid, lots of black and white, lots of moody pictures. I wanted to translate into boudoir and portraiture work. So I got my best friend and I told her to undress for me and do some pictures and pose for me. And she said, sure, you always need one friend like that. That's all you need in life. I did that session. And for a long time, I've been doing sessions ad hoc, like whenever the brides came to us and you would educate them that this is something that I offer. I would do those sessions. I started doing sessions, literally renting spaces in the city, renting hotel rooms, missing a lot of family time at
I
home.
remember those days.
Yep. And then at some point, you actually told me, babe, you're amazing. You need to do this. And you, like, you as a professional, as not you, but us as professionals and as artists, we never believe we're good enough. So sometimes you do need that little push. That's how my studio work started happening. I found a gorgeous studio. My studio is in Industry City in Brooklyn, easily accessible from all different points. People come to me from as close as Brooklyn. And as far as California, I had clients flying from Dubai to visit New York, and they looked me up and they wanted to do a session and they loved my work. Love my space. Our kids love coming there. This year is my 5th year anniversary of my studio space. I can't believe it's been 5 years. It's literally when I would tell you that I would never want to shoot in the studio. I would never want to have the same backdrop. And you were telling me that, come on, it's the same backdrop for you, but it's not the same backdrop for your clients. And a year ago, COVID was very good to me in terms of me keeping my studio, keeping my space, only being closed for 2 months. My clients all came back and I was able to reschedule everyone. So I'm very thankful and grateful for that. I'm now in a larger space, and it's literally been 2 years. I think in April, which is insane. And now I do, aside from boudoir, which is the main part of my photography genre, I do bridal boudoir, of course. I do couple sessions, which is boudoir and portraiture. I do a lot more portraiture now in this space because I do have the space for that. I do maternity, which I love. And a lot of our current clients who get married with us, they come back to me for their maternity sessions. And now my newest adventure is generations sessions, which are, I think I'm talking to my Julian. Tell me if I need to.
No, I think you're doing great. And actually, our listeners would love to know what you're doing. And I think the more the merrier, because when people hear boudoir photographer or wedding photographer, they typically wouldn't think that maybe we can do something else. And when they hear portraiture, they maybe on the same website, they will not go and find the other things that we do. And this is why we hear so much that after a couple of years, maybe after a wedding, we hear that people, oh, I wish I knew you do boudoir photography as well, because I went to someone else and it wasn't an amazing experience. And now that I know your style, like I wish I could do this before my own wedding. And then they come to you, but it's not a wedding present anymore. And
it shouldn't stop you from that. First of all, there is never a rule that you only need to do it once. Sometimes doing it more than once actually proves the point that it's an amazing experience. And first year anniversary for weddings is actually paper. So what an amazing gift to give your loved one, your partner, either a gorgeous album or individual prints. And honestly, I always tell my clients it's a gift for themselves. Whatever they get for their partner is like icing on the cake because it's a very empowering experience. We as women are very critical of ourselves. I'm the same way. You take pictures of me and I'm like, yes, no, maybe, yes. And you're a photographer. So it's really like when my clients look at pictures, when they see their images after the session, they're like, oh my God, that's not me. And I usually have to say, I didn't Photoshop somebody else's body on your face. So it is you. And the most important reason why I do this is, aside from the fact that I love creating beautiful images, I feel like every woman is beautiful. And my whole business is actually structured about empowering women, how amazing and strong they are, how we go through crazy things in life and still come out maybe a little dusty, but still amazing on the other end. And basically showing women how other people see them, how our partners see us, how our parents see us, how our kids see us. So that's what matters most. And if client decides to order a 40 image album, good for me. But the most amazing part from this is to walk away from the session, no matter if it's with me or somebody else, seeing how other people see you and seeing how amazing you are and beautiful. And keeping that feeling for many years. And if that feeling shades, you should come back for another session.
I can resonate because you'd show me the feedback that you get from your clients almost on a daily basis. And those very long messages that are so full of emotion for the person who is doing it with you, because there's way more than pictures about this. There's way more than just having something pretty or something memorable. Can you reflect on this experience of you working with people, like maybe less about photography, about what kind of emotional load do you get? And I also know that you work with very unique people who are coming from very different edges of life. You had a lot of cancer patients, you had ladies who didn't have limbs. And while outside world looks at least like it's pictures and maybe it's beautiful women, this is not what those women see. So let's maybe reflect a little bit on the emotional side of it and who do you work with really?
Sure. So, first of all, I always tell people it's not about just pretty pictures. Pretty pictures would be a great thing to get. And I would say that pretty much any photographer can create some pretty pictures. It's not what my studio is about, it's not what my brand is about, and my goal and my journey. At this point of my career, people come to me because when they look at my images, and they literally wrote me those emails that they keep coming back to them. I'm not the cheapest photographer in New York, and New York is expensive altogether, but I'm definitely not the cheapest photographer. They do come back to me because they appreciate the value that I give people, my experience. And when they look at pictures, there is just, it tells the story. It tells the story, even if not everything it shows. It's so much more than just taking my camera and snapping a couple of pictures. I had a client who was expecting a baby. She was a single mom. She grew up in a very wealthy environment. Her parents were working a lot and felt that in order to compensate for them not being in a kid's life, they would throw money at that kid for all different reasons. So she grew up knowing no words like no. And unfortunately, when you're a teenager, that also comes with problems like getting into drugs, drinking. So she actually lost her boyfriend because he OD'd and he fell asleep and he never woke up. She went through couple suicide attempts, and basically when she sent me her initial email to me was that I always hated the way I looked. I went through bulimia, I went through eating disorders, I almost end my life a few times, but now I'm so grateful that I'm pregnant and I'm actually bringing a child to this world. So I actually want to um, capture myself the way I am, and that's maybe would be the first time that I ever loved looking at myself at images. So that story really shook me up because I do have two kids and I definitely want them to grow up as strong as possible. But basically, um, it's just mind-boggling what people, what women, and I'm sure it's not only women, it's men as well, what people go through, and how many insecurities they have in life, and how a total stranger can show them how amazing they are and what it means to be that person. I've had clients. I actually have a client on Monday who is my repeat client, who is coming back after fighting another cancer, and she is coming back after a double mastectomy to capture her body the way it is and how she's not even 40 years old, a young girl with three kids who is who had to deal with so much in her life. So it's, again, to summarize, this is so much than just pretty pictures. It's a story that I tell people, that I tell about my clients through my work, and hopefully that's how they view the art and appreciate it. And they're absolutely amazing in writing reviews. My reviews are literally like I sit there and read them and I'm like, oh my god, is it me they're talking about? But they're absolutely stellar. That's my huge thank you to them for being able to put it into words. I'm horrible with words. I cannot write for the life of me. That's why I hide behind camera.
That's a lie.
And uh, they're absolutely amazing.
No, I think you're absolutely amazing with how you work with clients, and I've been at some sessions which were not full on boudoir, and how you talk to people. I've been to many sessions where you were teaching and master classes and one-on-one lessons to other photographers, and I think what you're doing with guiding your client is insane. And the same goes into when you're teaching someone to take photographs, because I cannot do it. I don't know how to do this, and at least I don't feel like I can. And what you're doing is something on a totally different
That's talking
level.
about us never believing in what we do. Not believing in what we do. We believe in what we do, but never believing that we're good enough.
you can make anyone comfortable in front of the camera. What is your process? How do you do this? Because we shoot weddings and we get a lot of couples when on the initial call that we do. Most of people say we feel very awkward in front of the camera. We are very uncomfortable in front of the camera. We are worried about looking weird or funny or something that we don't want to. And we go through the whole process of explaining, and while we are very good with that during the wedding, it's an emotional roller coaster to even get there and start the session. And then here you are working with women who have almost nothing or nothing on them and making them comfortable and writing you those reviews saying that they felt so great and so amazing, so empowered. It's inconceivable. So how do you do this? How do you achieve that level of comfort? How do you make ladies of completely different people have different views about themselves, most very self-conscious, and here you are breaking all their insecurities and making them feel like a queen. How do you do this? What's your secret? Because, and honestly, I don't know myself, right? So I'm very interested how to do this.
You're not saying the truth. You know how to pose people. It's definitely a different ball game. And actually doing a lot of boudoir and portraiture work actually escalated my level of expertise in doing portraiture for weddings. And as we know now, during weddings, if we do come together to weddings, you love for me to take the initiative to pose people.
You're the
It
best at
just
that.
feels very, very natural to me. And I know I might be short on words, but I know what looks good on camera. So if I can explain to people, which I do explain now a lot, I kind of in my head, I know how it should look good. And actually, having a semi naked person in front of me taught me how to speak properly and how to guide people the right way, because you can't just go and start touching the person and putting her in different poses. It feels very awkward. It feels very inappropriate. So it did help me definitely to get my posing game on point. It also, I did a lot of boudoir work, Julian. So it's in the beginning it was tough and it was rough, and obviously my work wasn't as great as now. And I'm not saying my work is amazing. I'm a person working on progressing and getting better every time. But honestly, doing it for a long time definitely helps. Um, Being a creative person also helps, because when I see a person, for me, it's a beautiful person that I need to create amazing pictures with. I'm not looking at, oh my God, like my left side looks different from my right side, or my thighs are too wide, or my waist is not small enough or large enough. I don't have all those insecurity of that person in my head. So it's easy for me. For me, it's just a beautiful person that I need to create artwork with. So that definitely helps. In the beginning, it's awkward, especially with couple sessions, because you have that third person, me, following them with camera, so it looks like paparazzi. But we laugh a lot. I shoot very fast, and that sounds dangerous, but like I take pictures very fast. It helps a person, because if the person is not a professional model, it's very awkward to be posing for an hour, and that's usually how long my sessions are. I shoot fast and I give a lot of direction. All they need to do is follow direction, and people usually after the first couple of pictures are like, oh, I just need to look right, I just need to look left, I just need to put my hand here. And that's doable. I can follow direction. I'm an attorney by trade, so I know how to follow direction, or I know how to listen to a person. So once they learn that this is all they need to do, it becomes very natural, and they really get into posing, and they love the experience. And usually when they leave my studio, they're like, oh my God, I'm ready to conquer the world. So it just comes with practice, honestly, and keeping your mind open, keeping your creative juices flowing. That's all you need. It's not magic science for sure.
It looks like it is. You told so much, and I wouldn't be able to go and do this, right? And speaking of
You
that,
haven't done it. If you come with me to the studio, I can start getting
you're
you.
kicking me out. So, by the way, as a lady, as a girl, what do you think are benefits of having your boudoir pictures done with someone who is female and not a male for that purpose? What are the benefits of that?
I don't think there are benefits. It's a personal preference because we, as I said, we as women are very insecure of ourselves. So just like majority of women would prefer to go to a female GYN, it's the same thing. I know lots of talents in this industry, not so much in New York for some reason, but like the West Coast, Canada. I know an amazing boudoir photographer, and you know him as well, in London. They do gorgeous work. I am always inspired seeing their work online. So I would say it's just a personal preference. I don't think that I can pose people better than a male. And to tell you the truth, Julian, if you do it long enough, you'll be able to do an amazing work doing that. But definitely feeling more comfortable in front of another female, it's one of the privileges and maybe advantages that I have in this industry. Just because women just prefer to be with another female because they feel that they understand them better, I can understand their insecurities. But I would even say that a man might even, and I'm not going into like sexual things or anything like that, but a man might see another woman totally differently than I would. I don't think there is um any advantage to that, but I definitely do get, majority of my clients do tell me that I'm so happy you're a female because we can be on the same page. What it means, I'm not sure, but I guess we are.
I think you also just touched something very important. You said a male can see a woman or a person different than me. In like in photography, it's so important. It Someone might think like it's a person with a camera, but it's incorrect. And this is why we are so blessed. We have clients who come into us for our work, and those clients understand that it's not enough to be a person with a camera who takes pictures. It's actually what we see through the camera, how we see things, that makes us translate those things onto paper, if you will, or onto film or onto matrix. But in the end, this is what stands you apart from others, because the way you see things and the way you create your work. Because everyone can actually take a camera.
Obviously, but at the same time, if you look at it from a different perspective, as if you look the way you look, that you are well built, that you work out daily, does it give you an advantage in creating better images? No. You might be a person with three legs and limping, but if you know how, like, what beautiful should look like or what beautiful looks like, you will create it with no bigger effort than being you. A different perspective from seeing, like when you pointed that the male would see female differently, just like when you look at the pictures that I show you of me and you say, oh my god, this is beautiful, this is beautiful, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe this one is okay, maybe this one. So it's a different, it's how you look at things versus how I look at things. But luckily for me, I was pretty on point, I would say 99% of the time with my clients. When I create something, they do resonate with that and they say, oh my god, this is not me. I've never seen myself like that. I had a client who started crying looking at the pictures, and I'm like, oh no, this is my first client who is going to be hating her pictures. And she's like, no, my mom, she was a Jewish girl. She had this certain Jewish profile, like facial features. And she said, my mom always said that my nose looked amazing, and I always hated that. And that's why I never take pictures like sideways. I always take pictures looking in the camera. And you just proved her point that I do look amazing in pictures. I'm like, oh my God, it only took her 20 years to believe her mom. But yeah, unfortunately or fortunately, photography is a very subjective craft or art. So what looks good to you might not be what looks good to me, but we're very lucky in weddings and in my genre that people come to us at this point for our vision of things, of how we capture people's emotions, people's personalities. So I'm very happy to be on the same spectrum with clients who love our work, because I love what I create, I love what I do, and we love doing weddings. And that's the most common thing that we hear on wedding side and on portraiture side, that they say, we came across your work and like it stands out, it's amazing, it's so beautiful, it's so different, it's so candid. So yeah.
Who would you say is your typical client? Who do you work a lot with, and how do they find you?
I would say at this point majority come through Google website, Instagram as well. Ideal client or typical client, hard to say. I can tell you like how much of which genre. I do a lot of bridal boudoir, which is because it's again, it's that dual or double plate gift idea, that it's a gift for her and it's also a gift for her partner. At the same time, you never been in the best shape of your life because you're getting ready for the wedding. So you definitely want to commemorate that and celebrate you. And so I would say bridal boudoir is very popular. Maternity boudoir or maternity portraiture is very popular because it's such an empowering feeling that you're bringing another human being to this world, that you definitely should celebrate it. You definitely should create some memories out of it. Couples boudoir is a very unique experience. We nowadays in 21st century, you can purchase pretty much anything. Nothing is surprising anymore. So creating experiences is something that's people love. That's why people love to go on vacations. That's why people love to go to theater. They have an experience, they can talk about it. And with my photography, they get to keep their art so they can look at those images. And it's a fun, a very unique experience for sure. And it's something that will create an amazing bond and chemistry in your relationship. So I would say if you haven't done it, you should look it up. It's a very cool and fun experience. Julian and I did one when we were in Vegas for my workshop. So it's always nice to be on the other side of camera and see, oh my God, I
It
thought
wasn't easy for me.
I should eat any breakfast because it's going to show in pictures. No, it wouldn't. But it was fun. It was so cool. And we
It
had
was.
those images. And then obviously regular boudoir, which is like individual boudoir, is amazing and definitely something each woman should go through and experience at least once in their lifetime. And now my newest creation, because I can never stop, is offering generation images. As I said, and like my mantra and my reason to do all this is to celebrate women and celebrate how amazing they are. So my generation sessions, I don't know if those cutesy Central Park sessions, it's amazing and people do that, and we never have enough professional pictures with us and kids. But I feel like celebrating women, moms, grandmothers, and creating those generational pictures are it's so amazing because 20 years from now, our kids will look at the pictures that are stored in our phones. We don't even have them printed and say, "Oh my God, mom, I don't even remember how our grandma looked like," or "I don't remember you when you were like 30, 35, 40." So creating those memories and printing them, printing your art, don't store it in your phone. It's just print it, keep it, have it somewhere, look at those images, because that's what we have. That's how memories are built on. You don't remember anything that's stored in your phone unless you look at something in that's in front of you. That's my story.
You're so right. I'm recording this just slightly before the Mother's Day, and I think that resonates with me a lot. I don't have a lot of my pictures as a child or as a growing up with my mother, so I can definitely resonate with that. This is so important. So, guys, if you listen to this, don't neglect. Just do that. It's beautiful experience, and I think you will cherish those images forever. We have several brides and clients who did this with Eugenia, and they have amazing memories now. What is the actual process to have a session with you? How does someone need to go about this. If you can walk us through a little bit.
Absolutely. The process is very similar for all different session types. So it's not really about like how you would go about each session, but the typical process, people reach out to me either via website or through Instagram, or I have a lot of referrals because I've been doing it for some time. People have friends and then friends see the picture like, oh my god, I need to do this. Typically people reach out to me, I send them my brochure with some initial information, product options, studio information. We work on a date. I'm currently booking out my late fall winter 2023 2024. So it's, don't ever sit on that and wait because you think you're going to lose 5 more pounds. Book your session now, then you'll have a goal. if that's what if that's what your goal is, obviously you don't need to lose anything or gain anything, because with my expertise I'll be able to pose you and put you in the most flattering poses. So once they know which day they would like to have it done on, and more importantly, if you do it as a gift to someone, you want to make sure that you keep it in mind, because the time for editing and looking at the images and printing the final product, it also takes time. So basically I would suggest the whole process is about 6 to 8 weeks. For example, if you're getting married in November, you want to make sure that your session is in August, beginning of September, so it gives us plenty of time to have the final product in. And then once we book the session, I send my studio information. I send the guide on how to get ready for the session, because obviously it's, for many people, it's never done this before experience. So people are really lost and they don't know what to do. Part of the experience that you get with me is getting all the information. So you're not in cage 22 that you don't know what you're doing and you don't know what to bring. I do have an amazing boudoir closet, so if you don't have any lingerie, it shouldn't stop you from going through this experience. And I would say this is exactly the type of session where less is more. So if you don't have a lot, that also shouldn't stop you, because there are sheets, there are different things that we can play with in the studio. So definitely don't go crazy shopping, or go crazy shopping. It's a good excuse also to go and buy some cool stuff. And then once the session comes, on the day of the session, you do have an option of choosing my makeup artist, who is amazing. She does makeup and hair, so you can get glammed right in my studio. I always recommend that, and 90% of my clients love that option, because you don't have to go anywhere else to get it done. You can just do everything in the studio. That's when we chat. Obviously, based on this podcast, you can see I talk a lot. I answer any questions. I show all the products, all the different options that the person can get. And then we have the fun shoot. And then after the session, roughly 7 to 10 days after the session, we get to look at all the images that we created. We choose your favorites. And then that's when I'll be putting it in a printed format. So if it's an album or it's like a package with corresponding digitals, that's when I'll be working on that. And once I receive your product, I'll ship it to you, or you can come back to the studio to pick it up. And yeah, and that's how the process is. So it's pretty straightforward. I did talk about it much longer than the process is. But the good thing is that I'm able to offer my knowledge and experience in this. So it's definitely an investment. It's a luxury experience. It's not just like some headshots. It's definitely an elevated and luxury experience. But I do give you all the ammunition for you to creating the most powerful images with the information that I provide with my gorgeous studio. My house doesn't look like that. My studio is literally like absolutely amazing. It looks like Paris meets New York, and it's so cool. And I definitely love seeing inspiration from my clients. But honestly, 90% of my clients just send me my work and they're like, we love this, we love that. And basically, whatever you created, we love. So we don't need to show you anything else. And that's not for me to recreate the images, for me to just kind of see what you love in boudoir. And like, do you want to do some tasteful nudes, or do you want to do some topless pictures, or do you want to, are you only comfortable with lingerie? And it's like an amazing project that they get to work on for the next couple of months. So it's definitely something that they'll remember for a long time.
Very true. Your studio is so unique and you invested so much in that that I don't think I've seen more beautiful space aside, of course, historic venues where we shoot weddings. But for a studio, it's a very unique experience. It's ever changing. You always invest in new setups, new background, new furniture. I know that you had several clients saying you should be doing events there because this is how beautiful it is. Are you planning to move on that? Are you planning to start doing events?
I would say never. So it's definitely in my drafts on my computer with 500 different tabs open. So it's definitely something I was thinking about, but I'm a perfectionist. So whatever project I work on, I make sure that it's 150%, hopefully. If not 2023, maybe 2024. I think it would be a very unique and cool space to do bachelorette parties or girlfriend's parties or girlfriend's birthday party. We definitely can offer photo booth opportunities. We can offer different experiences. And of course, a little bit of bubbly that never gets in the way. People can do some pictures. I was also thinking to maybe, if it's a bachelorette party, to celebrate the bride and do like a mini session for her. You will have an option of maybe adding makeup artists so she can get everyone glammed up. So definitely opportunities are endless. It's all about me just being one person trying to work on all those different projects. But I would say more yes than no.
So, guys, stay tuned and maybe sooner rather than later, I constantly see you working. You're always on a new project. You're always editing, you're shooting. How, from your end, do you balance your work with Boudoir and our weddings? And how do these two areas of your profession complement each other? And but also, how do you balance your work-life balance? We have two kids. If anyone didn't know,
How well do I balance?
not for me to say. I
Um,
don't know how you manage.
I work late. You go to sleep and and I stay up working, but you wake up much earlier than me. So I do get my beauty sleep for sure. I just, over the last couple of years, I realized that life is sometimes too short for doing everything that you want in life. And our kids are only small for so long, and I can't even believe like our older one is my height at this point. So they're literally going to be with us for the next, I don't know, 5, 6 years, and then they'll be off to college and off to other adventures. So for me, being present in their life is very important. To be present in your life is also important. So I try to annoy you as much as I can. But as I said, I'm a perfectionist. I always make sure that my customer service is top notch. People trust me with this experience and they trust me investing into my work. So I definitely want to make sure that I over deliver or deliver 150%. Doing home stuff and like family stuff is important, but I always make sure that my workload is also done and taken care of. And I never make people wait. People are actually surprised how fast I deliver stuff. We do take less weddings right now just because we can only do so much, and we do want to make sure that our kids see us on weekends. So our wedding photography part is very, I would say, very selective in terms of like which weddings we take and which venues we work with. Our wedding clients has been amazing, and you cannot complain about amazing reviews that you got from our clients.
We are lucky.
They definitely appreciate us, and we have tons of referrals because if one person gets married, usually in the same group of friends, everybody else gets married. We do have weddings where we come in and they're like, "Oh my God, Julian, we haven't seen you in like 6 months." And they know us and they like make
Yeah,
sure that
that's
they
true.
see us 500 times and they make sure that we have whatever we need. Our clients treat us as family, and we really appreciate that. And we appreciate the referrals. It's much easier when the sales part of our job is done by our clients because they're like, "Oh my God, Julian did our wedding and he was so amazing and created amazing portraits. We don't need to do anything. The job is already done for us. We're sold." So balancing, I don't know if I'm doing a great job balancing my life, but definitely trying to do that. And hopefully that counts. Spending enough time with the family is important. Friends, very important. We don't have a lot of friends, but the ones that we have are amazing. So we definitely make sure that we get together at least every couple of weeks. And I love doing girls' nights in the city with my close girls, and just yeah, just making sure that life is fulfilled with different activities and different experiences. And God forbid we miss Starbucks on the way to drive with girls. So it's a part of life.
Thank you so much for sharing this. And I can say that many times I've been asked, how's it? You're married, you live with your wife, you work with your wife, she works with you, doesn't she hate you? How are you still alive? I want to say that it's been a magical journey because we are doing so well together, whatever we do, and I'm blessed that I'm able to spend my days with you when you're actually home. And it doesn't matter if it's work or not work, we're always most of the time on one page. And I've been blessed that I can go and actually work and do what I love together with the person I love. Because I don't think that most people can have that possibility, luxury, luck, whatever. And to me, it's a huge blessing. I know that I can't even call it work
Same.
because I'm spending the work with the person I love the most. And it's just another variation of us spending time together. So
Absolutely. It's I cannot agree more. And I would say that when COVID happened and people were frustrated and annoyed being with their partner at home, we definitely gave it kickstart back in 2013 when we started working together. So it's been like 10 years, literally. And I feel like
2011.
being in 2011, that's crazy. Yeah. But I think being independent individuals as personalities for both of us was very helpful. We don't depend on each other. We're doing enough work on our own to kind of not be in each other's faces like 24/7. And honestly, whenever my clients would tell me or my friends would tell me, oh my God, it's been too much, I can't spend any more time at home, or I need some me time and stuff like that, I never had that desire. Like whenever I need my me time, I go to the city, walk the streets, get myself lunch. I guess we perfected that balance of being in each other's faces and not hating each other. But I definitely I love that we have an opportunity to lead our life, not live our life only. And the love that our life doesn't control what we do. That it's a lot of work having a couple of businesses, but it's definitely something that you wake up at night and, oh my God, I have 500 things to do tomorrow, and you cannot fall back asleep. And you found yourself in those situations many times. But it's also an amazing opportunity that we have, that we can create our day, we can create our week. If our kids are off school on Friday, we can actually take them to the city. I don't need to call my boss and say, you know what, I'm not showing up to work today. And honestly, of course, it's easier to get a paycheck every 2 weeks, but I absolutely love what I do. And the more of it I can do, the better it is. And so, yeah, so I think we're very blessed, and it's a lot of work. We're not lucky. It's not luck that gave us this opportunity. It's a lot of hard work and a lot of sleepless nights and a lot of frustration sometimes when what we think would work doesn't work. And then we need to change it once again. But yeah, but it's also give us like such amazing opportunities to do things that we want to do.
A lot of good memories coming up.
And a lot of memories to be created.
Yes, for sure. To those who are interested in a potential boudoir session, what would be a couple of tips that you can give to someone who is just considering it, being interested, getting intrigued? What are the things that a person needs to know or do, or maybe things that they should know to prepare themselves?
First of all, don't wait on that. No, don't overthink it. It's something that, as I said, someone should do at least once in their lifetime. Of course, do your research. As I said, photography is a very subjective art, so what looks good to you might not look good to me. Definitely do your research. Find the photographer that resonates with your taste, with your view of art or photography. Because as I said, anybody can probably snap a pretty picture, but does that picture speak to you? So definitely do your research, find a couple of photographers that work for your style. Don't be limited that if you are in Manhattan and the photographer is in Queens and you're going to say, oh my God, I'm not going to travel to Queens. I'm just going to try to find someone on the island. Don't do that. It's just if you go to a doctor who is going to, I don't know, give you a transplant, you're not going to stay local within 5 miles to make sure that the doctor is easy to get to. You want to find the person that will do 150% on what you need him to do or her. And after that, make sure that the professional is responsive, that they not only deliver before, like if they don't deliver before the session, they will probably not deliver after the session either. Do basic research. And most importantly, just make sure that the images that you see online speak to you and resonate with you. And that's it, because there are some quite few talents out there. So do your research.
I think this is perfect. Thank you so much for taking from your very limited time to speak with me. It is definitely my pleasure. And the podcast name is Champagne and Chandeliers. And that prompts me to ask every single person who gets on the podcast what is their favorite drink of choice.
You pretty much speak my language because I have chandeliers in my studio and I love champagne. I don't always drink champagne, but I love Prosecco, sparkling wine, or cava. Those are definitely my preferred drinks of choice. And you got them for me many times. So for sure. Yeah. So cheers.
Cheers. And thank you so much. It's been amazing. If anyone wants to look at your work, find out what you do, what is the best way for them to find you on the internet, to get in touch?
Just like your name, Julian Ribinik, it would be Evgenia Ribinik Studios.com. That would be my website. You can always find me on Instagram as well, and that's Evgenia Ribinik Studios, one word. Or just Google Evgenia Ribinik and it will come up. I'm pretty high up there on the Google search.
The first.
Yeah, so email would be probably the best way to get in touch with me.
And of course, as usual, we will put all the details in the show notes so you guys can easily just hit on the link. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you to everyone who listened. We'll hear you guys next time. Have a great day.
Bye.
Cheers.